Right, hello everyone, and welcome to what is the first episode in hopefully a new daily, although that is potentially optimistic, series where I answer AI questions while also consuming some porridge, because in the age of AI you have to be multitasking. But before I dive into that, who am I? Well, my name is Alistair, and this is my YouTube channel where I teach people how to use Claude Code and Codex for knowledge work, but I also run an AI consulting and training company called Dux. And then just in terms of like what this actually is, ideally I would have questions from comments on my YouTube channel to answer. However, given the currently very small state of my YouTube channel, I've had to synthesize these comments by having Codex search the internet during the day, so that now that I've returned home at night, I can see the questions it's found for me that it thinks is worth me answering. But that does mean that if you were to leave a comment asking a question, there is almost a 100% guarantee that I would answer it. So there's the incentive for you to leave a comment. Anyway, let's dive into the questions. I haven't actually seen these before, so this is I've just got home and Codex has prepared these for me. I've got to eat my food while I'm doing this as well because, you know, no time to waste. I have to multitask in the age of AI. Right, so client wants to launch a fake competitor website to capture more market share. We advised against it. Right, well, I'm not sure this is directly related to AI, but obviously, certainly building websites is something that is much easier now with Claude Code and tools like that. In fact, today I was redesigning my own Dux website through Codex. In fact, one interesting thing I did recently over the weekend was put together like a really improved design skill, because I wasn't totally happy with the way I was getting like Claude Code and stuff designing websites. I was kept getting that kind of classic, like what is like the new AI slot, where you have like one line of text and then like a slot and then an italicized line beneath it. And so over the weekend I put together a much improved front end design skill, and it seems the key was really just collecting a whole bunch of examples of good websites. So if people are interested, I might make a video on how to get Claude and Codex to do improved front-end design. Codex made this kind of question board, and I like to think it doesn't look too generic in terms of looking like AI slop. Anyway, in terms of this, I'm no absolute expert on... in terms of this, although I guess you could come up with a bunch of fake competitor websites pretty easily with a tool like Claude Code, I'd say you're better off using something like Codex or Claude Code and making rather than creating loads of more websites to capture market share, just have it create a loop, like a self-improving loop that's going to check your SEO and AEO for that argument, and AEO for that matter, every week, and then plan a way to improve it and then implement it, and then it can be self-improving by reflecting on whether you now rank higher based on the improvements it's made. In fact, I just set something up like that for myself in Claude kind of last weekend. And yeah, if I look at my routines in Claude, which one is it? Dux presence loop. What is this? It looks at a prompt, and that prompt tells it to essentially look at how we rank for AEO and SEO and that sort of thing, and then have a look at our website and plan some improvements and then make them and reflect on them. And then it's a self-improving loop, which means it uses a skill and then it will reflect on that skill and improve it based on how that thing went, how its ideas went. And then it also checks like LinkedIn, X, YouTube presence, that sort of thing. So I'd say if you're going to spend time like using AI to spin up a bunch of fake competitor websites, you'd actually be better off just setting up some sort of loop in Codex or Claude Code that's just going to self-improve and iterate every week on your SEO. I feel like that's more effective at capturing market share. But anyway, that's just my take. Alright, on to the next question. What is your way of initiating every new chat session in Codex? I don't do anything fancy, to be honest, really. First things first, I'm always speaking to Codex. I'm not necessarily using the new voice mode they have. I don't have too much of an opinion on the new voice mode in Codex, partially because I haven't tried it enough, to be honest. It's only been out for a few days. I I don't know, I'm hesitant to say I don't see the point in it fully, because I kind of do, but I feel like it feels a little bit harder to control, like the model and the reasoning level and that sort of thing with the voice mode in Codex. So I tend just to use dictation, and yeah, whether that's Whisperflow or the actual in-app dictation is good on Codex. So if I'm working on my phone, I'll do that. In terms of initiating a session, if it's just a fresh session, I'll often just kind of brain dump my ideas and say what I want to do. I mean, obviously I'm working in a project, and I have a codex. Obviously my codex is set up to have, like, you know, proper agents, MD, and what I have in most projects is, alongside Codex's own memory, I have like a continuity summary of what's going on within that project. I also, for every project, have a tasks.md. There's a markdown version of a Kanban board, if you will. So obviously it doesn't look visually as nice, but it means when I'm working between Claude Code and Codex, and then with Hermes Agent as well, they can all see what tasks have been done, what's the backlog of changes, and what's coming up. And so that's not so much about initiating a Codex session, but that's a good way to make sure that all your different agents and like agentic harness tools can interact. Initiating it, one thing, I guess, if I am initiating a new chat because I want to start a new session based on previous work, what I'll often do is like get Codex to give me a detailed handoff prompt for the new session. If I'm going from, like, if I want to save context window, basically, like if I've got a cluttered context window but I want to continue that task in a new session, then I'll get a handoff prompt. I'll see if I have an example of that. This is the session that set up the loop that goes and searches every day for like interesting questions for me to come back and answer. And this prompt, obviously you can see, is very structured and like long and that sort of thing, and that's not how I would write it. That's not like how I would just brain dump. But what this is a handoff prompt, which is the result of another session where I was kind of doing a brainstorming about this idea. Basically I said, give me a handoff prompt for the new session, and this is what it did. Then I could copy and paste that into the new session. And so I guess that's one way that I sometimes initiate a new Codex chat, but generally it's just fairly simple, just kind of brain dumping. I don't know. I mean, I feel like Anthropic models do take a while. Like if you're going to run the models at like high effort, especially, or extra high, they do take a while. But I feel like, and Fable 5 took a while, but I think actually the Switch recently, or not the Switch, but since Opus 5 released, which is kind of similar levels of intelligence to Fable 5, I think Fable 5 still outperforms it ever so slightly on some coding benchmarks. But I do think Opus 5 is faster than Fable 5, so I would argue perhaps it slowed down a bit when everyone was using Fable 5, but now it feels faster again. I mean, to be honest, I'm not like an absolute expert, like kind of agentically assisted software engineer. Like, yes, I code kind of my own websites, and I code websites for people and that sort of thing using Claude Code, and I code like automations and like little internal apps and like internal software for myself, and like I guess I cloned some software, like I kind of cloned Whisperflow for myself, for trying to clone like Descript, so I have my own editing software. But I'm not an absolute kind of like proper full stack computer science trained engineer, so I don't know for a fact. To me it hasn't felt slower using Codex or Claude Code than it usually does. I think Opus 5 feels faster than Fable 5, and I think part of the reason I've been using Codex a lot recently, since GPT 5.6 came out, I really like GPT 5.6 Sol, and I find that it's quite a fast model, to be honest, especially if you use it on fast mode. I mean, I know you can get Opus on fast mode as well, but I think you have to pay API pricing for that, so I don't really feel like doing that. Would a marketplace for complete Codex builds be useful? I don't know exactly what you mean by complete Codex builds. I feel like if you have cool... Not sure there's a need for a marketplace for, like, what is a Codex build? Are you talking about like a custom agents MD or something? Custom model? I guess maybe a marketplace, or like, I guess if you share like cool Codex skills or plugins. But I feel like a lot of good skills are just kind of open sourced and available on GitHub. I mean, there's loads of good free skills on GitHub, and even if you don't just want to download some random skill off the internet, just take take a skill you think looks interesting, like give Codex or Claude Code the repo, say like inspect this skill, but don't download anything, just do like a security audit, and then say, you know, what does this skill achieve generally, and can we kind of mimic it and copy it and build it ourselves? But that way you're building it yourself, so you know it's much safer that way, but you still essentially achieve the same thing. So I don't know if there's much point for an actual marketplace when you can kind of just come up with the skill yourself. So I don't know, hesitant about that one. So yes, thank you for watching. Hopefully this does become a daily series. My hope is that because I've set this up as a Codex loop, which is going to search every day for interesting questions, and I've set it up so there's a self-improving loop, so it's meant to learn which topics are actually interesting, and which topics I like, and which topics the audience likes, and then focus more on those. Hopefully tomorrow we will get even more relevant topics, because I do feel like today a few were perhaps not super duper relevant, but anyway, yeah, as I said, thanks for watching. If you leave a comment, there is a 100% chance. If you leave a question in the comments, there is a 100% chance I will answer it in the next video. And yeah, if you'd like to work with me or join my school community, the links are in the description. And thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy.